Yo. Good evening. Lua I have not tried yet. I've only ever seen it, I think, when I was doing some StarCraft map editing or something. That was pretty cool. But yeah. Today I was planning on doing some Elm stuff, but I mean we can definitely do some. Have you tried Belgian waffles? Yes, of course. I'm not that big of a fan actually. I prefer appel beignets or smotable. Oh, smotable. That I haven't seen in other countries before yet. I mean, there's churros, but it doesn't compare. Also, cheers! Today, or this evening, we are drinking the Straffe Hendrik. And it's not really Straff, so I don't know. It smells like cheese. Luckily, it doesn't really taste like cheese, but it has a bitter taste. It's quite good. But yeah, welcome to the stream. Maybe it'll be a good idea for me to show you what I got. This is what I was working on the other day. But yes, to recap a little bit. Last time we did all of this, well actually no, we were writing a UI, which you don't even see on this part here. But we did split up the UI into 2 pages, which I was quite happy with actually. One part is the, how do you call it again? We called it home, because it's the anonymous homepage basically of people that are not registered, and then when they click on the register button they should be forwarded to this new page. Well, not really new page, but the other page, which is over here, the registration one, and I can show that by view main content by switching this up, and instead of routing to the view home or the home's view home function, let's do a registrations view registration function. And if I save this, magic happens and we get redirected to here. Oops, can't spell already. The beer is having such an impact on me. Oh wait, we don't have a running container just yet. So let's first start up our, which shortcut was that again? Yeah, okay, nice. The scrambled application. Ah yeah, maybe I should say a word about that as well, which is something you might like, Monty Morris. A colleague of mine, Levi, he introduced a bunch of us actually to Ktor, which is a web server completely in, how do you say that? Like it's a nice word again. Idiomatic Kotlin, and and it's really nice actually. It's super simple. I'm sorry, when I was eating just a couple of minutes ago, something went wrong, and I've never been the same ever since. But he introduced us to Ktor, which looked really simple. So then I decided over the weekend to try and rewrite everything that I have in Spring now, Spring Boot, to rewrite it as a Ktor app or module. And the stuff I got working already is like not the entire thing, because I need to find a way to send messages across the server. So maybe there's like a module that does that for me, but we'll see about that. But I've got dependency injection working. The database stuff isn't working just yet. It just needs like to be fed the proper parameters. but I already like that the module for the RDBMS part is in, or can be placed in, the RDBMS module itself, the Gradle module. So yeah, everything just seems to make a lot more sense and less magic-y than Spring has. But for the meanwhile, since I've got the rest fully implemented in Spring already, I can use the regular Spring Boot backend to test our Elm frontend with for now. Huh? So then if I just refresh, and we'll enter Monty's name in here. Voila. Now you are registered for the Scramble Ladder. Congrats. Is there ever going to be a need for Java in Android dev? I don't think any longer, no. I think Kotlin has taken over and it makes sense. All of the tutorials are in Kotlin nowadays, I think. But yeah, it's for the better. Plus also there is great interoperability with Java libraries anyway with Kotlin. So even if someone writes a Java library that Android is interested in using, or like Android developers, then they can just integrate with that. But I don't think Android development will ever see Java anymore, or at least I hope not. It would just strengthen the Kotlin vibe across the world. And let's go for that, shall we? But yeah. Yeah, but so this was really super interesting. This is the entire thing. It creates an HTTP web server. It loads a bunch of modules, specifically the relational database one, the domain module, and then the infrastructure module. And when this happens, then all of these coin, so that's the dependency injection framework I'm using, that Levy was also using. You load those in, and then you launch, or you declare, I want to host the Ktor API. This thing still lives in the in its own package, let's say, because I wanted a different one from the REST API. Because here in this REST API, we are using Spring Boot REST controllers, and I wanted to supply Ktor with like a different way of dealing with HTTP requests. So yeah, there we go. This is how you do that. You declare a REST API in Ktor. You say, I'm going to need Jackson for that, basically. Install content negotiation so that you can convert Jackson on when requested application JSON MIME type or content type. And then this is how you do routing there. I split that up into two things. So one for the player's registration, and then one for, the registration and one for the player routes. And this is what that thing looks like. So you basically first inject some stuff. I don't really know how I feel about using this here, because I might have just used like an injection way. You're just going like this, command executor, and then do the binding in the API module itself, and then provide them that way. But I guess this is more idiomatic, maybe. I'm not really sure about it, because you depend harder on the fact that you're using Coin. And that's not something I wanted to do for the other modules, or I didn't need to anyway. So what happens if you do a post to API register? Well, you unpack the body basically from the call. You map that to a register player command, which is a command. Where is that thing? You can't actually see that, but it's a command. And then you execute that command, and that will return you with an actual registered player. And then that ID you could use theoretically to respond with a 201 created, and then with a location header containing the ID. a new version is available. Let's not deal with that right now, because it will make me restart stuff. And then for the player routes, it's the same, but then for a get to /API/player, where we perform a fetch all registered players query, and then we map that result, which is, how did we call that again? A representation. Oh yeah, of course, it's right here. And you map it to the JSON object, and then that's the thing that you return in an OK response code. This seems quite simple. It has no annotations. You can just click through on everything to figure out what it does. And that's really, really fun. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing this in my spare time. I mean, converting my Spring Boot app to Ktor and see how that works out. I was already happy that in 4 hours time I was able to have both of these services wired up. Oh, the thing that it did make me do though is in my how do you call that again, the native plugin scripts or something, I forget what it's called, but it's like those conventions, blah blah blah, plugin files. I reorganized them completely, so now they've got an actual package instead of just living underneath the root. And I split them up a bit more, I think, and then I introduced plugins for Kotlin, Ktor, and then Coin. And then the other thing I had to do was introduce a versions object, which is a bit interesting, I think. I cannot, okay. This thing just contains fixed versions for Ktor and Jackson, because those things understand how to work together basically. And then I use those variables somewhere. I thought I was going to use, yeah. So they should be in common. Yeah, voila. In common, I use versions.Ktor version. And then here in the web, I also use that one. And also the Jackson version. So for the web conventions plugin, I need Ktor Jackson. And it's in the io.Ktor group. So it makes sense that I use the same Ktor version here that I use for the common conventions. So this one. And that's why this class or this object is there. It's pretty neat, I think. Instead of having like an awkwardly exposed version in your common conventions thing, for example, now it's just really, it has a sensible location. It's just constants in an object, and you can clearly see how it's being used anyway, so yeah, I like it. Okay, but that's the Kotlin part. Yeah, so I don't want to be redeploying these files or this main Elm file all the time when people click on the button to register. So I was going to try to do routing this evening and see how far that we get. So I guess the thing that I need to do is to, maybe what I can already do is make this conditional. So let's say I want like a scoped function here so that I get a scoped variable. Let's call it view or something. Yeah, so this is going to be interesting. Now maybe I'm going to need a view in the state or something like that as well, and then based on the state render this. But maybe what I can just start with is, am I on the registration view? So maybe what we can check is a model is registration active or something like that. And then I can say, wait. This is basically the thing that I wanted to do. So it's a view function or something. And then what we do is we'll just say, dang. Because I really want to perform the call here or something like that. So I want to return something here. So what I can do maybe is go like this. If registration active, then we want this. Allee. And then else I want to do this. Voila. And now we don't really have, maybe then this can be view page or something. There we go. Or view route might be even better. And now what we need to do is determine if registration is active. And for that, I think we can use, let's rewrite that then. Use the model maybe. I'm not really sure if that is going to work. So is registration active? We'll take in a model. And maybe what we can do for that is just check the route. And that I don't really remember. Here's the routing stuff. Ah, yeah. Okay, so it's slowly coming back to me. So the idea to do app routing is you define a bunch of routes. So we don't have leaderboards. I think what we should do is have like an anonymous home page. Then there's registration, nothing, and then not found. Not found makes sense. If we can't route to anything, then just be redirected to the anonymous homepage, and in that case, we don't have a not found type route, let's say. And then for all of the rest, when you're going to parse the URL, and this is going to return the proper route. So let's say that we're on the route, then we want to return the anonymous homepage, I think, for now at least, because we haven't implemented registration just yet. Leaderboards we don't have yet, reports we don't have yet, but we do have a registration page. And this should be register or something. But then, how do you trigger this parse URL thing? That I don't remember. Maybe it has something to do with the having a subscription. I'll have to check how we did that. Elm routing. Elm route. Oh yeah. That's not what I wanted at all. Huh. Okay, seems legit. Navigation. This might be the package that we already have. I'm not really sure. Let's check our Elm. Nope. You know what? It might be that it's already taken into like HTTP or HTML now, the routing part, because no, it's URL. I'm dumb. It's an URL. So maybe we just need URL. It's in browser. Okay, nice. Now we know. I think we use this, the application in the browser. It should be somewhere at the top. Browser, no, we do document instead of application. So I guess we'll need an application for that, and then maybe there we can wire, here we go, on URL change. Okay, that seems easy enough. So application, and then we'll just follow compiler warnings. Oh boy. Missing fields on URL request and then on URL change. So let's do these already. The update function seems to look the same, so that's Gucci. Okie doke. So these were the ones that we're missing. And this should be equals on URL request. What does that mean actually? It's like a preventative thing, maybe like a guard or something. On URL request, let's call it. That doesn't exist yet, but it's typed with this. Let's return. Man, I don't know. What is a message? Maybe we can just do no op, and then other stuff might fail. Voila. This doesn't exist yet, so let's import it. What changed here? From browser, okay. And then this is a copy paste error. Voila. And this is on URL change. Let's write it here. Change, yes, sure. And now we've got the URL, and then we want to output a new message type. Okay, so it's likely that we'll need to just spam a message whenever URL has changed, and then have that message update the model to reflect the page that it's showing within the state somewhere. And then we can hook, that's how we will hook up the URL parser, I think. Suspicious that we needed to still import URL though. Oh, stuff is still not correct. So now we have to declare the no op. And for that we'll just return cmd.none with model. It's the other way around, Tim. Nice. Voila. And now fix more of these compiler errors. Oh, the init has changed apparently. So init requires a maybe string to a URL with a key to this thing, and I don't think our init function is typed that way. We do have, what's that key thing? I don't know what that key thing is. Oops. So S URL key. Don't know what this thing is. Ah, yeah, of course. is needed to create navigation commands. Ah, yeah, so that your routes have an identifier. Okay, nice. That makes sense, huh? I don't really know why it has an initial URL though. Why can it not just be parsed from the browser? That I don't really get. Maybe there's more to be found. Ah, shit. In here? Aw. Okay, let's read the documentation. Okay. Ah. Okay. So I guess that application starts off with an initial URL. But why do you need it? The thing I don't like about this is that I could go to what the failings? Did I already open this much tabs? Jesus. I could theoretically go to the root, but then have my application initialized at another URL, and at that point my URL parameter is not in sync with my browser's address bar. So that's kind of sucks, huh? What is this URL thing actually? Ah. Oh Jesus. Oh jeez, Rick. Oof. Oh, okay. Thank God. No, wait. You can do from string, but can you also do from the browser's bar, let's say? Can you do that? Ah, this is why you use the parser. I think, yeah. Okay, so that means that on init this takes in a URL though. Oh no. Oh noes. I don't... Yeah, I guess this will work, but honestly, it should belong in the home.elm, this thing. I failed to move that previously. Okay, I think we've got some parts that we can split up. So if you need to bear with me, it's breaking my head after long days of work. What if I don't care about the URL like I'm doing right now? Actually, that would make sense, huh? I mean, I don't think I need to do anything with key just yet. There's still one thing that's not compiling. It's over here. Yeah, so honestly, we can actually already put the route in the model. Oh, damn it! Now I should have. Let's do current route equals. Oh wait, if. You know what? I might just do this. Equals anonymous homepage. There we go. We already have current route. Oh no, we don't. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So now it's complaining over here. Hey, your model doesn't have a current route. So let's add current route as a route, and then my empty model can have this one as anonymous homepage. This might not be correct how I'm doing it, but it might work. I'm not really sure. We will see. So in any case, we'll check if registration is active. If it is active, then we'll render the registration bit, otherwise we'll render the home bit. So this is already quite strange. If registration active on the model. Oh yeah, so this is not correct. So if it's a registration, then we need to, yeah, there we go. And then I want to implement that if I click on register, that I update my current route, and then we're already golden, I think. But then the stuff that I won't have is I won't have my URL changed to this. So, but that we'll fix later. Let's first make this work. So let's go to home actually, because that's where the button is at. Registration redirect button clicked, and it's being used here in the update function. And now actually I want to propagate back up. How do you do that? So if I update this thing and I say model current route, it doesn't exist because yeah, the bottom or the lower, the child components, they don't know about the main one. So I don't have access to this field, or yeah, let's call it field. So I need to be able to push this thing back up So what I think I'll do instead is in my update function here, I can check what the home message is. And now here I can choose if my home message case M of, and then we'll do registration button clicked. We might not have that. Then I'll update the model by saying model update current route equals registration. And then with CMD none, I think. And then otherwise, we'll just do this piece of code. And now this doesn't exist, so I'll need to expose it from here. Oh, it was called registration redirect button clicked. So this should become unhandled here. So if my update function of within the home should ever accidentally get this one, then I'm not going to do anything. But now I need to make sure that this, oh, I'm exposing everything actually. Okay then. Okay. Voila. Python isn't the only language that uses tabs. I'm not sure if it is. It's not tab sensitive that much, let's say, but it won't compile if I do this. So I guess it's just here that it's tab sensitive, but all of the rest it's not really. You can write it like this, and it should keep on compiling, I guess. If I were able to inline all of this stuff. I think the of stuff needs to be on a separate page, but there's a bunch of stuff that you can inline, like I think this part you can do like that. But then again, that's not a function, huh? Yeah, you might be right that it's got the same rules as Python. I never really thought about it. Then again, I also never really worry about it because Elm format takes care of that stuff for me. Also, good evening. Hope you're doing great. Stuff seems to be compiling though, so it might just end up working. Moment of truth. Wait, no, let's first refresh. Then moment of truth. Yay! Okay, routing done. No, I'm just kidding. Now I want the URL to be updated as well. So this is poor man's routing that we've got now. The only thing scarier than code that isn't running is code that runs from the first time. Yeah, I mean, this is what Elm is known for, in fact. Like, you can be like on a really long refactoring streak, like a bunch of compilation errors happening, and then all of a sudden your code compiles, and more often than not, it's just working at that point in time, which is really nice. Yeah, I guess it's a side effect of, I mean, a wanted side effect of having pure functions, of course. It needs to be mathematically correct. I'm gonna quickly turn on the light. I'll be right back. There we go. All right, now we need to update or make sure that the web browser route thing is tactical sliding. Yeah, got that covered. Allez, what did I want to do? Ah yeah, now I need to use, actually I don't want to be using this message thing, I guess. No, wait, this current route as a way to deal with what page am I on. But really, I want to push, what was it again? So instead of doing, let's first add it here. And I think you do that with the command. I'm not really sure. Let's do let, allez. With 2 bindings. Ah, yeah, okay. I want a single one, I guess. Let's say derp. And then let's figure out from this one, I think you could do, oh no, okay. Man, where the hell is that thing then? Say push URL. Didn't we see that earlier? Is it use key? Import. Yes. Change the URL, but do not trigger a page load. This will add a new entry to the browser history. And what is the string argument in fact? I need example code for this, and I won't be able to figure that stuff out. We opened a bunch of tabs, so maybe I should just look at 2014. That might be a bit too old. Let's not look at this. What's this thing? Okay, Elm 0.18. It might be one version and a minor version older than it's supposed to, but maybe it'll work out. Parse location. I think this is now a bit different, huh? That's it? How do you hook this thing in, man? Oh. Ah, yeah. How to match browser paths to routes, but I don't see where it's hooked up. It's just a navigation library. I think it might be too old anyway. Dang it. Where was that the request thing at this thing? Oof. Ah, here. Ugh, dumb. Okay, yeah. So this is actually every single time the URL just changes. Okay. And then on button changes, you just push URL by changing the URL yourself. I see. think that might make it a bit easier. Where is my on URL change? Okay, so we're always returning no op. That's not something we want, I guess. Because here oh, I think this one takes it. Yeah, okay. So I want a URL that produces a route, and then I think I can pipe the result of this into URL changed as a message type. URL changed with a route, I think. And then I'll need to handle that route. Maybe what I can do now is just update the model's route that we already had. We don't have no op anymore, or what? Oh, I guess not. Let's do auto completion. Yeah, okay, nice. Then I'll just update the model and say, yo dog, current route equals this thing. Oh, I need that. Okay, so now every time the URL changes, the onURLChange function is triggered, which will send out a URL changed message or event containing the route that it was changed to. And this one we got to because our URL or onURLChange, where is it? Oh shit, we do need no op. So no op model cmd.none, don't do anything. So as I was explaining, our onURLChange triggers based on the URL. We're going to use our parse URL. Let me move that a bit closer to that stuff. And then the parsing is already in here, so we can get rid of that stuff and then put it closer to the onURLChange thing. Voila. Alright. Yeah, and then if we were able to parse the web address to a route, then we'll supply that route. Otherwise, we'll just always redirect to anonymous homepage. Maybe that's not the best of ideas, but hey, we don't have a 404 just yet. This we don't do anything for just yet. But so then this URL changed message gets triggered. It contains the route. Then the update function updates the current route within the model. And because that happens, the view function kicks in and it will see which route is active and then bind one of these pages to it. It's interesting. Now maybe since I've split the files according pages, then maybe what I can do is I can put the registration route. So write it like, yeah, maybe write it like this. Registration as the package dot route, something like that. and then put that all of the different routes in a single home.elm called routes or something. We can do that, but we can do that later. This is you watching an online class. Oh boy. Well, it's a good thing that I'm not going to quiz you afterwards. I guess I could. Yeah, so really what we're building is a UI for to render a diabotical leaderboard. We've written our backend in Kotlin. It's not completely finished, but I want to gradually complete it. And right now what we're doing is we want to make sure that when you click on register, basically the URL here changes to /register, and that the page then automatically updates to show the registration page. That's what I want. And yeah. So instead of updating, because now what we have like is a bit of a dirty thing, where in our update function, where is our update function? We hijack this internal message. Okay, now actually, yeah, this starts to make sense. So if I say I want to push a URL, I need to now provide this thing with a key, and then I don't understand where the string comes from, Aleo. Building URLs. Maybe that's why you need to initiate your URL with your initial URL, I guess, like parse it. Oh god. And then a key. We need a way to say this is a home page key or something. It is relatable, eh? Yeah, that's what you get when you've got a Flemish guy streaming and talking in English. Where do I get this key from? I know that it needs to be bound very closely with these routes. So maybe what I can do is God dang it. Okay, let's just do key then, I guess. And then we'll say we've got root or something. Oh wait, this is not going to work, is it? How the hell do you use that? So we need, actually we need something like this, which is a key. And then how do you create that? Root. See, because it is a type. See, this is the part I don't really understand. So this is like the general type, but then that's this thing, and it is a key. What? Navigation in elements. Oh shit. So wait, this key is a different one. Yeah. Okay. Because we were not in browser. Okay, or we were, I don't understand. I don't understand this at all. Oh, wait. What if we say that this has a key or something like that? Yeah, this I don't understand. Because you can't initialize it. I don't understand this. I really need an example somewhere. I believe, here. This is already quite big of an application, I'm afraid. There is a route. Okay. Do they have key somewhere in here? Shit, they don't. It is Elm 0.19.9. Different browser version maybe though. Yeah. Page. Okay, yeah. This makes a bit more sense, I think. Oh yeah, I forgot about batch. That's how you did that. Still nothing about keys, I'm afraid. So I guess somewhere they have string representations of all of these routes, but then I still don't know what this thing is. Yeah. And this is where it ends already. Maybe we don't need key then, I guess. It just means that you need to hook it in somewhere. So what if we try to find where replace URL is being used? Okay. I think I saw viewer here. Maybe this thing uses that. Nope, wrong guess. The hell? Maybe then it's in main or something. Main. Yeah. Session.navkey, dude. What the f***ings? This introduces so much complexity all at once. I don't like it one bit. Grr. They turn their model into a session and then use session.navkey to get the key out of their session. Okay, we're starting to get somewhere. Now let's see where toSession is at. Where is it defined? Yeah, here. Okay, so every single page has their own toSession implementation. And it's bound to the page. So let's look at maybe a register. This looks is going to, excuse me, look a bit the same, I hope. So let's open. Oh shit, that's not what I wanted to do. How did you do that again? T? Yeah. Register, which is a page. It will have a toSession implementation. Son of a bitch. Wait, so this model is the local model, I think. Yeah, okay, nice. But it is a global session or something. Or does it have its own session defined somewhere? Nope, it's right here. Oleon. So session then, I guess. Let's go here. This should have a key. So apparently, what the hell is this thing? Fucking hell. Nav key. Sure. Getting closer and closer. So a session can be logged in and it has a key, but here in the to get the credentials out of it or something, I think you don't need the key, but for nav key you do need it. Oh Christ. Okay, maybe we'll need to do some reading. Because where was that again? Here. If you start reading a calculus book from page 314, it might seem confusing. So I hope that in the guide there is something about routing or like those key things, navigation. Okay. Okay, here they initialize it. Okay, nice. Yeah, this is also what we read in the documentation before. But then on URL change, oof, they have types to represent. I am. These are immediately messages. Oh yeah, of course. Oh fucking hell! Look, I made functions for that. Where is that? Let's get rid of that stuff. Here. Yeah, it just says map a URL request to a message, but if you don't use this, then you can immediately just say whatever the message is, huh? And that's what they do here. They just inline it. URL changed. So instead of no op, we'll say URL changed, and that what we'll do is we'll change that there, and then we already have that. So now the only thing we'll need to do, oh wait, hang on, URL request, I did a different thing. What was it that they used for that? Link clicked. Okay, so this is the new one that we need. Voila. And then a link clicked. Shit. Link click and return the same model and none, because we don't want to do anything yet. And then what? Why is that an issue? Ah yeah, because linked clicked is probably a type or a message that has a URL request with it, so we'll need to change that. Voila. And then we don't care about this. Voila. Okay, nice. And then what? Now we say that the model is a or has a key and a nav key and a URL. What the fuck? Okay, we can inline this, huh? Nav.key and a URL.url. So let's add those things on our model. Where is my model? Okay. Key nav.key and then URL as a URL. Maybe I should first check. Yeah, it's the navigation one. Okay. Oh, and then it's important that you initialize your model using that key and the URL that we haven't done either. So here an empty model. Where is that init function again? Yeah, okay, nice. Oh, you know what's cool? This empty model now is a partially initialized model, because we just initialize these things, but we can now add the, I forgot what it was again. Where's the model? First the key and then the URL. So if we do this, okay, we'll need to rewrite this then as model with empty model registration and anonymous page, and now it should compile. Yes, dude. Maybe this anonymous homepage thing we can also add here something like as a starting model. Don't really know if that's a good idea. Anyway, now we did take in the key and the URL that we're given from the init function, and we initialize our model with that. So now all of a sudden you have a key, but I don't think you can actually use that thing. Like, how does it get generated? Okay, whatever. Okay, that we have, and then what? Then when a link was clicked, Oh yeah, I see. I think we can just copy this though. I was going to react on the URL being changed actually, and then loading the page, but yeah, it makes a bit sense. So when you click on something, then you get a URL request. And if it's an internal URL, you use the push URL with your model's key. And that's why it takes the string, because you need to somehow map it. Okay. But then why, if the URL has changed, that they do nothing? Oh no, they set the URL. Okay. Where is my update function again? Okay, here's a link clicked. We don't need nav. Yeah, it's that one. Oh yeah, sure. Hopefully you fix the rest then, I guess. I don't. Okay. And otherwise it's load. Oh yeah, we don't want to do this anymore because our registration redirect button clicked within home is going to fire a link clicked message then, I think. And in that case, we can just use this like we did before. We no longer have the need to intercept that specific message of the home page. URL changed with a route, and then all of a sudden we've got a route. I'm not sure if that's correct, because here URL changed message has a URL and not a route. So maybe let's say that this one has a URL. A bunch of stuff is going to stop compiling, and then just set the URL. Voila. And there's stuff that's not compiling, then that's the on URL change thing. And now we just need to say URL changed with that URL. So I still wonder where parse URL is going to come in now, but I still don't know yet. But we are following the main docs or the main example. There is no subscription. So this is really just making links using hrefs to these things so that you've got different pages. And then what? So whenever someone clicks a link, it produces a URL request value. Yeah. Huh. Settings, hashtag, that's not on there. Okay, and then this one is different domain. Sure. So wait, how do we know this then? Is that just because href produces that thing or what? URL to string model.url. Okay. Yeah. So I guess clicking on an href is intercepted by Elm somehow then, and then by the Elm application, by this one, browser.application, so that this will trigger the on URL requesting to change. So you'll get a URL request at that point, which we've just mapped to a link clicked message. And then our update function treats those link clicked messages containing a URL request, and then can decide what to do, whether it's an internal or an external reference. If it's an internal one, we're going to use a navigation module to push that URL, and then this thing is still absolute magic to me. But then you to string the URL that you're currently at. No, wait, that you were given, and the internal by destructuring it, basically by destructuring the URL request. The particularly interesting functions are nav.load. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, cool. If you want to restore what they were looking at when they come back, scroll position is not perfect if they resize. Okay. Okay. A couple of ways to get URL changed messages. That's true. Ah, yeah, of course. Ah, voila. Okay, that's great. Ah, here in a fucking note they start talking about what the ski thing is about. A navigation key is needed to create navigation commands. Ah, yeah, so that's why I was having such trouble trying to get one. Okay? We couldn't create one or anything. You only get access to a key instance then, I would say, when you create your program. Guaranteeing that your program is equipped to detect, and then also that your own program cannot modify these things. We have a line in our model for our key. Okay. All right. This is exactly true. Something that I wanted to do, in fact. Okie dokie. So I think the parsing I understand, but oh, this is new. To deal with the query object, okay. I don't really understand how it hooks into to do. Yeah, they go into how to split your application up now. Yeah, I still miss like a big part of like, because I've got a button now, but the button is not an href. So what do I do then? Because now our on URL change receives this URL, but then doesn't really do anything with it, I guess. And why is this route thing important now? They don't really explain it, this part. Rather than just saving the current URL like last time, can we parse it into useful data and show that instead? And then this is to do, and it's the thing I needed, of course. Fuck my life. Or update parses the URL when it gets a URL changed message. That we haven't done yet, huh? That's what I had before, in fact. So when URL changed, now I need to parse this. So instead of just keeping the URL, okay, maybe, okay, I'm done. So let's do current route, parse URL, this thing, voila. Now we've updated the current route using parse URL. Then we understand how to parse the current URL into something useful, which are these routes, which are really just types, or is just a single type. And then since we update the current route, then we can map that type into actually rendering the correct view. That's what we already had. But so now the only thing that we're missing now is yeah, doing this nav.push URL. Ah, maybe. Oh shit. I feel like because because you need to keep the key somehow. Wait, maybe. So if we go back to our example, our home message just quote unquote just delegates to the update function, but it receives its model and so this is not model. Maybe I should rename this to MSG or something, but MSG is already there. Sub as MSG or I don't know. Sub message. Okay. Great tip. Download the example, rename everything. Yeah, I think it will be too much to learn. If I download all of this, it's way too much. How fast did we get lost just by looking at it already? It contains a bit too much concepts, and I want to introduce them gradually. Otherwise, I won't be able to remember them properly. So just for your reference, this is almost where I was the last time that I did Elm, and that was, I don't know, 5 years ago or something. Back then, I did this one. Understanding your own code is overrated. Tinder. Shit. I don't know it by heart. Hier, Tinder Elm katten. Look at these cute little fluffy chickens. It's such a cute little chicken. Anyway, but in this example, I also got to the part where I was doing routing. There we go. Routing 2. Oh. And here I did it a bit differently. It's also older Elm. Oh wait, 2017. That's 4 years ago. But yeah. That was too difficult for me to remember all of that stuff. If you don't use it every day, then it's really easy to lose. Yeah, what PHP, I mean, it's quite difficult, huh? Just coding in general is quite difficult. Right now I'm reading Clean Architecture in a reading group at work. And this book gives you like a bit of guidance on how to structure your code for different purposes, but also I found that it also helps structure the code in your head. Because it talks about some kind of a category that you can apply. And then once you can start talking about this category, and then you just understand it a bit more. You like coding in Java and C#, but all the rest you hate. I once was like you, my friend. And then I discovered that I hated the fact that everything in Java can be null. And I understood, or I learned about Elm, and then Elm says, no, we don't do that here. And all of a sudden, you don't need to deal with null pointer exceptions anymore. And I was in bliss. And then I discovered Kotlin Kotlin runs on the JVM, and it also has specific nullable types. And yeah, ever since I don't like Java anymore. But that's, I guess it's a personal thing, huh? Dang it, where was I now? This is why you chose cybersecurity and not coding. Ooh, that's quite a hefty topic. That's cool. I know nothing about cybersecurity. I know what JOT token is, that's it. And how to do OAuth. But yeah. Yeah, so my mind was thinking, since that example says that we need to keep the key somehow, where here we go, but the key, huh? And then we added that key to our regular model, but I feel like now we need to update both our registration and our home model with this key thing as well, so that we have it, which is really annoying. Yeah. And now stuff will stop compiling because our empty model, it's not just what we should do now, I guess, is also write this as model leaderboard and API. No, wait, empty string, empty array and nothing. But it doesn't return a model yet. It's going to return a nav.key, which turns into a model then. And then I can hopefully pipe that in the main.elm somewhere, because our empty model here, yeah, should take a key. Oh no. Now I can't, all of a sudden I can't use it anymore. Okay, let's type this thing with, it takes in a, forget already, where do I use it? Somewhere up. First a key, nav.key, then a URL, and then it returns a model. And we can do key URL, and then we can say do key and do key URL here, or yeah, voila. And now we need to do the same here, so also pass the same key here, and then rewrite model as empty array, not registered. Oops, I don't need the commas. Blank string, nothing. And then that's it for this thing. And then we'll say that we'll also need a nav.key to add to that thing, which we'll import, and then we'll add a key, which is a nav.key to the end of that model. Moet grepen? Oh, so apparently it was swapped. So first there's register input, then there's state, then there's that list, and then there's an API failure of nothing. Okay. Coolio. Let's go to main. Voila. So now both of our submodels also have that key. And then hopefully from within home, I can, when this registration redirect button clicked happens. Yeah. Maybe I no longer need to, because really what happens is I want to call that. Fucking hell. Was it here? No. In the navigation part where we handle the URL or the link clicked thing. Yeah, push URL. This thing maybe. Let's just try to hard code it first maybe, and then it is a command in fact. Oh, I only spot that now. I'm so dumb. I'm so dumb. Okay, yeah, let's figure this thing out. So URL, 2 strings, really we need a string here. And what I can say is I want to navigate to local host 8080/register. Voila. And I think this is why I needed this key thing here. Yeah. Let's save it, go back to main, and just see, yeah, what is correct. Yeah. Let's see if it works. Shit. There goes my promise that whenever it compiles, it works. Why is it not working then? Because I am using push URL. You have to be wrong once in cybersecurity to lose your job. I guess it depends on what you're securing, I guess. If it's, I don't know. The warehouse system of the, what was it again? The Aldi that covers Jona Holden, then it's quite important. Oei. Lots of noise. I don't understand. Why is it not working? Let's check the debugger. Yo dog, I heard you like debugging. Oops. I think I broke it. Oh, there we go. Can we make this bigger? Oh. Swap layout, what does that thing do? Oh, we can just zoom. Okay, that's good enough for me. All right, let's click on the button, see what happens. So they did registration redirect button clicked was called. Oh, wait, it might be because we're not dealing with the command properly, maybe. Oh, my brain is not smart enough for this. So this update function is being also covered in main.elm, where we've got another update function where we first delegate, then we've got a home message. So we call update. Yeah, I think it just nothing happens with that. The URL thing is not triggered. Huh? Okay, what if we just change the button into an href? Maybe let's see if that works. That might work, in fact. Then I don't really know what I need to do with this. Over here, so this is the button. Maybe actually before we do that, let's see if there's another thing that we can do with. We could replace URL instead. And then we'll do a hard page refresh there. I think it was a thing. All right. Saved all of your ears from exploding. Oh, fuck. Nothing happens. All right, second time. What if? Maybe that's why. Where is that route thing again? If we go to main, parse URL. Oh, it is register. We do know that the URL changed event did not happen, huh? So at least we know that. But this sadly doesn't do anything. I didn't know Christian Bale could code. I didn't know either. What's up, man? Thanks for joining. We're trying to figure out how to navigate in Elm, or like actually do page navigation, because this is not working. Cannot get /register. Oh, maybe we need this kind of stuff or something. How does that go again? Fuck. Maybe we can find that again and route parsing. So difficult. Because here it's all just, yeah, from the slashes. There's no, okay. I know, so these are those page positions that we were talking about. So those are fragments. That's also not something that we need to do. Oh man, I feel like I'm missing some obvious thing. Okay, so if we understand that correctly, so loading the page, the first page at least, if I do this, works fine. However, if I click on register, I get one event or like message. I wonder why that is. That if you don't start it from the top, then you can't use that thing anymore. So we know that a home message was fired with a registration redirect button clicked, and that means that we enter this part here, but then all of a sudden it stops. So somehow this command thing is not doing anything. And I think that if we do hrefs, then it's still not going to work, but we can still try. Huh? So I think that I can leave this as it is, but then the button should no longer be a button, I guess, but it should be an href. So here I can say, I don't know how that works actually, UI.href, is that a thing? Import yeah, I think I need to wrap this in like a UI element or something. Yeah, for this I don't know Elm UI good enough yet. Where else do we just render text? In the main page, you've got a view model, and then there is a view header thing, UI.L, and then just that thing just has one single thing, which is a UI.text. So probably something like this. So it was UI.L. Where is the button again? Yeah. And then this thing has a list of attributes, an element returning a message, and then that thing returns something. Okay. No, maybe there is an element.href. I don't know about the style. So text exists, but href does not. I need to check Elm UI for that. Elm UI. Get component reference, yeah, sure. Oh wait, this is not the one I was looking for. It's very easy to make this mistake, especially if you get this as your first hit. It's in fact this. Elm UI cookbook. Yeah, examples. minimal browser navigation. I guess it's just like a component, navigation component or something. Dude, it has nothing. Okay. Nice. Really nice. More examples. Alea. I really just want an Elm link or something like that. It can't be this difficult, right? What does an MPV? A media player. Does this thing have a link anywhere on its page? I don't think it does. These all look like buttons or something. Maybe we'll do a link. We'll do href. No dice. If we take a look at the messages, maybe we'll be able to understand. No, these are just buttons. Okay, what if we revert this code and then go back to what it was before? So we know that it was a base button. Base button is something that we have. All right, and then there's input. Maybe input has an href. No. Okay, then I guess let's go to element not input. Link, of course. How come no one helped me with this one? Oh yeah. Link, of course it's a link. Let's go back to the home thing and then use, what was it, element.link. Yeah. And this one, allez, import. Oh. So it takes in a URL and a label, and not whether or not it's disabled. Maybe we can just ignore that then. And then this is the URL, and we will put, maybe I still have it in my, yeah, I do, nice. This we don't need. It's your problem. Okay. It needs an element with a label, so I guess this is a text. And text. Oh, that does just take a string. Okay, nice. All right, here we go. No longer using the registration redirect button clicked. We've got a register thing here. Oh! Okay, I think I'm a huge idiot. Because I wasn't running on 8080, I was running on 8000. You know, sometimes you first need to make the most stupid mistakes before you get something. So let's keep this part and have it as a link or something. And then what we had before was this part. Sometimes you just have to do a backflip. Do a backflip. I can't. Okay. Now we can maybe see if we actually not use 8080 but 8000. I wonder. Oh, dear lord. Hey, thanks for the cheer. Let's see if what happens if this works. Oh, and Mr. Rat. I need to still update my labels. Normally somewhere below you should end up being listed as like last year or something like that. I didn't take the time to do that. So sorry. But you did make a lot of noise, so that's cool. Let's see what happens. Oh my god, it just works. Now it works. It was a fucking one number. You know, actually, this doesn't fit in the Elm way of thinking, because silently it was failing and I wasn't seeing anything. I would have expected Elm to fail hard on this. Oh, Jesus Christ. So this is it. Just, this is it. Fucking hell. Okay, now we need to get rid of this hard coding trash. Port numbers are fun, aren't they? Especially if you've got them looking like this, then you're like, oh, this is an 8, right? Oh. Somewhere in that thing there they were mentioning there's like a URL builder or something. Some builder. Fuck. Okay, wait, first we commit. We do, we'll open the main, we'll get rid of this link bullshit. Oh, that was in home. Button. Where you at? Button. Here. Let's get rid of that. Alright, and then let's make a little commit. Registration button works with URL parsing. This is a good achievement. Routing done, eh? Now we just need to make it a little bit more normal. Because the problem that we have now is that our... Oh, hang on. What? At the very top, we are defining our routes. Where is that thing? Over here. And we sort of bind the endport of the URL to this route. But then if you want to navigate to a page, yeah, maybe we need like a page or something like that, and instead so that both home and registration can be pages that you can click on. So then we're introducing page object basically, yeah? Yeah, and then this is also a bit awkward because what we're really firing here is perform fetch leaderboard, but really I don't really want to do that, I guess. I want my init function to yeah, no, I don't really know how to deal with this. Or at least not yet. So this is the anonymous homepage. Now we should really rename this as well to do this thing or something. We will party hard for sure. Yes. Actually, I will be right back. I'm gonna get another beer. I will be right back. It's gonna take me like about a minute or something. In the meantime, party moderately in my absence. See you. Right, here we go again. This time I brought the bottle. Straffa Hendrik 2020 Wild. So it's from Bruges somewhere. And it's yummy, I can recommend. And it smells like cheese, but it tastes not like cheese. Yum, yum, yum. Yeah, so we missed that page concept somehow, eh? Or well, really what I maybe I can express myself a little bit better if I go to where we deal with this thing. So I don't want to hard code this. I really want to say push URL do the registration. Maybe we can just do this. That will already be helpful. But then we might have a chance on how do you say that again? Having circular dependencies. So maybe what I need to do, but we will see. When that happens, we will fix it then. But in the meantime, I can just say a URL, which is a goddamn string. We can say it's this thing, and then eventually we can get rid of this. allow import. This should still work. Ooh. So what does this actually mean then? Means you can't start on register, or we can't actually navigate? Oh, we can navigate to it. Okay, that's interesting. That's still another feature then that we don't have yet, eh? That if you navigate directly from outside to like a static URL, that you get navigated to the correct page yet here. I think, you know what? That might have to do with the way we, where is that thing? We use Elm Live. I'm not really sure. But yeah, that's for another time. I want to make it a bit more airtight, let's say. So this now, it's still just a string. And when I deploy it somewhere else other than my local machine, this is gonna break, of course. So how do we fetch, or how do we use relative URLs? Builder, oh, relative. What is this? Okay, sure, import. Okay, so really this, and then what? What's the second argument? The second argument. First it's a list of strings, and then it's a list of query parameters, and it returns a string. Let's see if it still works. Okay. Sweet. This is already good enough for me, I think. That's cool, huh? Made URLs of our pages, or actually build URL of our registration page using, yeah, no, that's it. Build a relative. Voila. Donesies. Then we'll go to main. Check what's up here. This is done. And then this, look at that task thing in Elm again. That was the batch thing, in fact. So this we won't do anymore, because it seemed it was a bad idea. We tried it last time. What's this? Splitting API calls from a component is interesting if we can unit test the model without having to worry about actually performing HTTP. I guess, yeah, what we can do there is we can choose to not start our, choose what we want to test. If we want to test it at the beginning of a page, and HTTP call is done, then there's no way around that, but we don't need to do that, honestly. It's difficult stuff. Okay, so we still don't really need that idea of pages although we've sort of implemented it already. You know what? In this URL thing, we've got different routes. So route changing happens within the main, which makes sense because that's where the model keeps the current route and also the current URL. Do we still use that somehow? Yeah, so bye. This thing, I don't know why that is, so we can get rid of that. Yeah, we don't do anything with it, huh? Oh, is this the reason? Oh man, something started to click into place there. If we initially get the URL and we initially get register as a URL, then maybe we don't. I wonder who or which thing is responsible to throw this. I don't know where we get that output message from. I think it might be the web server from that gets launched by Webpack, but I'm not sure. Yeah. Maybe in the headers. I can't really immediately see which thing does this. But I suspect that it's the web dev hosted by Elm Live, in fact. But I think we can try and do is if this URL is indeed being passed and it's in fact this thing, then we might be getting this from Elm and not the web server that is hosted by Elm Live. And in that case, I think what we might try and do is, because I know that there's like a debugging thing. Oh, Jesus, how did that go again? Let's just do a let debug.log URL. Huh? Okay, yeah. That's maybe not what I wanted to do. It is sort of, though. Now I can see the signature. So you first get a regular string and then the actual value. Okay. And URL we are not going to use anyway. So URL at init. Then you got the URL for that, and we can assign it to dummy, because we really just want to log it, I guess. So hopefully if we do this, then we've got a URL at init somewhere in our debug log. Maybe in the console, not quite sure. navigate it to, but no debug logging. Maybe if we add debug log somewhere else, like on a working thing, just to check whether this gets logged in the console. Then we can verify that we actually enter the init function. But again, I don't think we do. Actually, let's see if we... Okay. Yeah, we do get a log statement here. Okay, carp. So that means that it is in fact, as I suspected, the web server is like, it tries to do the routing first and then not redirect to Elm. So I need to figure out how you do that. How can you use Elm live to just forward for SPAs? Features include push state for SPA development and more. Ooh. Oh yeah. There's an Elm podcast. Because of course there is. Have any of you tried Clubhouse yet? Wondering how that works. Flags, port host SSL. Okay, that's not something I did. Push states. Ah ja, voilà. Okay. That if this works, then that was a very fast way of fixing it. Voila. Then we do need to restart it. So I don't remember where I was running that. I guess somewhere over here. Not in the code retreat. Maybe here. Yeah. Okay, let's restart it. Voila. That's cool. We've already got it running here. So now if I do just /register. Oh shit. Okay, so now I think I got rid of the debug statement. Because of course I did. Yeah. So now maybe I can take into account because our empty model or our route key always ends up at anonymous home page no matter what. Is that correct? No. I guess the parse URL thing just is not happening yet. Ah, maybe that's why. Ah. The answer is so obvious. So let's do empty model. And then where the route, we need to make sure that the route is done properly. So where we've got empty model, here we pass along a key. So what I think I'll do is I'll do it again. Where is current route? Ah, here, it's here. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll do URL. No, actually a route. And then we've got route. And we've got a route as a first argument and then the key. So that will work. And then that means that we have to make explicit that whenever we're creating an empty model, we already have to specify a required route. So let's parse URL this thing and add it to the model like this. That way we know immediately at our empty model which route we should render, and now it should already be fixed. Yes! Yes! This calls for celebration. Small celebration. I cheers you. All right. I knew it was all clicking. I felt it clicking in my head. And then it did, and I'm so happy. So this is a bit funky now, of course, because now what we're saying is, yo, already do perform fetch leaderboard, but this absolutely makes no sense when we're about to render the registration page, right? Unless actually it's not. I'm not entirely sure about it because it's nice. Because now, when you end up in the registration page, you basically pre-fetch your leaderboard. Yeah. So that what? Yeah, I don't think it makes sense. This really needs to be long when you load the home page somehow. And now we don't have a way to do that. So our parse route thing, yeah, we can't really see the downside of this now. That's annoying. Because if we do this, it's just a new page refresh and all of the data is there. Actually, oh damn, that would be so cool though. I was gonna say if we can click, if we fill something in and we do register, that you get redirected to the leaderboard page and your name will pop up here with a 0 rank, for example. Have you been down the Rhine? I think so. I've got some friends in Germany that live in Cologne, and they, yeah, we've done some skating at the Dome, like at the Rhine there. And back when I was into StarCraft, I did a couple of, or maybe just one ESL coverage, I think. Like when they were hosting those live StarCraft matches, that was amazing. Like I met Kalaris in person, and Apollo back then. He was also popular, or like still in the commentating game, let's say. That was fond memories I got from that. Alright, let's do a commit and then say now routing to the correct page based on the initial URL. Oh yeah. It feels great when stuff just works and you understand it, or you think you understand it. Let's see what's up next. Recent matches and leader. We don't have a thing to fetch recent matches. This I don't even remember what I meant by this. But I don't have unit tests on my UI just yet. Maybe I can play around with that. I did add, oh snap. I had a change list where a unit tests was a thing. This all works. But now, oof, fuck. This should have been in a commit from before. Dang it. And I guess we need to change this as well, because here I also added Elm test. Oh shit. So let's first maybe revert this bit. How do I keep this? Because this is like a I will copy paste this statement, shelf package JSON, or roll back. No, I want to shelf it. Shelf changes, Jesus Christ. Yeah, sure. I will unshelf real fast. Then I can go back to package JSON and then copy the start thing where I added the push state modifier. Then make a new commit with this thing and amending that commit. Because then it belongs together and I don't care if I already pushed it, so I'll need to force push this. Wait, what changed here? Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. All right, noise. And now we unshelf this. Unshelf. I want this thing, and then I want the dash push state. Where you at? After the HTML thing. Oh, we already have it. Okay, never mind. And then this thing as well, I guess. Apply. Nice. Voila. And now we can, I guess, just check this in, because I mean it's working. If I go to the main routing test, I can run it because I've configured IntelliJ to be able to run these tests. And then we can just commit this bit as well. Added setup for UI unit tests should be okay. Yeah, and let's push that as well. Great. So it's difficult for me to how do you say that, to warrant unit tests now, because up till now we didn't really have any logic that warrants an actual unit test, I think, because we've been depending on the type system so far. And wait, when was it? Actually, yeah, but that's silly, huh? So I was thinking this was a bit fragile here, so if this changes, No, wait, before it was fragile, because then we were using home. Where was that button there? Here. Yeah, so in this handler, we would navigate hard coded to /register, but that we don't have any longer. So that was very fragile, but we've solved that by just importing. Huh? So I guess we don't really need a unit test for that any longer either. And then the other test I was thinking is that depending on the route to render the proper view. But this, I think, I mean, if you do this wrong, then you'll see it real fast as well. I don't think our routing logic will be that difficult to need unit tests. And if we need extensibility or need to verify that all of the cases have been covered, then really what we should do is build a case of the models dot current route of, and then what we'll do is if it's registration, we'll do this, and if it's home, anonymous home page, then we will do this. Voila. And now it's a bit better. Huh? Now we don't need this view route intermediary thing anymore. We can just do this. Voila. View main content, and now it's basically a route function. Huh? Like it. And we can get rid of this. Okay, again, we don't need unit tests anymore. It's nice, huh? It's less maintenance if you don't need to write unit tests for this anymore. I think this is also a big part where Elm's strength lies. Okay, it is difficult to comprehend, especially at first, that the learning curve is pretty steep. But once stuff starts clicking into place, then you can be really productive, huh? And do safe refactorings. Cool, let's commit that. So that was a refactoring, I think, eh? Refactoring. Rewrote the view main content as a case of, so we don't need unit tests. Push it. Nice. I guess next up is this thing here, because now we've got like proper routing. Huh? So you end up at the home page where all of the current players are shown. The recent matches are dummy matches. They're hard coded, and then you're saying, well, I am interested in joining this thing, so let's do register. Then you start registration. Let's do Mr. Rat. You want to register. You are now registered. And then, yeah, of course, these are all of the players that have been registered. Maybe we shouldn't really even do this. So what do we want to do next? Or that's actually what I figured out in Figma the other day. Where is Figma? It's loading. Oei. Patience. Let's have a sip. It's nice to have some breaks while loading, because then you can drink beer. Okie dokie. Right, so this is what we have right now. Okay, it's not really looking exactly the same, but still, if you click on register, you end up on this page here where you've got like, oh, please register, this website is super cool, blah blah blah. And then you've got like a nickname field, maybe a password field for now, huh? You've got a register button here, or join the fray, or fry it's called. Maybe I should just change that while I'm at it. Here's the button. Where's the button? Where the hell is this button? Oh, here's the button. So this should be join the fry. Where is my... Getting dizzy. Okay, nice. So then when you click on this, wait, where is that? Here. Voila. You click on register, you enter your nickname and password, you press join the fry, and then you end up with a different looking web page or home page where you're no longer anonymous, but still the same leaderboard is shown, but then also it will list your upcoming matches and pending challenges. So this should be like the next page we make, and then we should render your upcoming matches and the pending challenges. But maybe first what we can do is get... Where was this thing going? The recent matches. Let's try and render this properly, like a little bit more nicely. But for that we need backend stuff. Now I feel like we've got a good skeleton going actually. Ooh. Oh, you guys. We can book some actual progress here now. Here's my Kanban board. Initial UI SPA in Elm. Guess what? It's friggin' done. An unregistered user can register as a player. I think we've come up to our first actual user story. I mean, this is like a secondary thing. I don't care about it now. It just works anyway. I think we can start actually working on doing stories one by one now. Because we've got like a full walking skeleton now, including UI. And then we can work on this. But then it means I need to implement security. No. And then the next question will be, do I maybe first want to completely switch to Ktor? Because I bet user registration is very different in Ktor than it is in Spring Security. And I hate Spring Security. Yeah. Let's take a minute to look that up. Because then I might extract some time in the weekend to switch everything to Ktor. Let's do Ktor user registration or something, or authentication I should have done probably. Voila. Okta, you guys. Ruslan. Tell me what's Ruslan. Okay, start. I think we've passed that. Then secure to configure OAuth 2. What? Oh yeah, I guess OIDC is part of OAuth 2. That makes sense. You can set up an authentication module. Okay. Not sure if I want this. I guess the context here, yeah, is that you can serve your web pages using your backend, but so that's our context is a bit different. Where is our context? I can show it here somewhere probably. Yeah, you can't actually see it properly there. Dang it. I guess here it's a bit more explicit. So even though our UI and backend are hosted on the same thing, or served from the same server, I should say, so I don't have to deal with CORS and all that crap, this is much better of a representation in the end. So people that use this application or the UI will register somehow within the Elm application and then be redirected somewhere to do authentication, like to Google or whatever. And then with that authenticated token, they'll go to the backend, where that backend will then do the verification of that token and pull some information out of it, like a user info endpoint or something. But then that means that in the backend, we need to link or be able to link that external user ID to a user that's known in our backend. So all of a sudden, our register player becomes a bit more complicated, because register would mean for us log in with choose your identity provider, basically. And then when you've got a successful authenticated user back from that, yeah, but then yeah, no, it still makes sense. It still makes sense. Then I need to register my application with that external provider, saying like, hey, I am the Scramble.gg application, and I need this information from you, the user. So you need to request permission and all that jazz. See, this is why I don't like security. It's all of this crap. I want it just to be there. I just want to have users in my system. I don't want to, and a way to map them somehow. That's it. That's it. It's so boring work. And you have to think about all these edge cases. Like, what if a user is authenticated with Google, but they never really click the register button? What do you do when you get that sort of a user inside of your backend? Like, do you create a user on the fly? What username do you give them? I don't want to deal with that stuff. Ugh. And this is why I didn't really want to do user management. There we go. What did I write down in the quality attributes? I'd love to do the least amount of user management as possible and let an IDP handle that for me. So I read that Auth0 was recently acquired by Okta. So Auth0 is no longer an option. Allez, hier. Is a good option for that. Yeah, little Bobby drop tables. Yeah. I love programmer jokes. Oh my god. This is so good. Really? I would be amazed on how many sites that works. No way, no way. Is that really true? Like I always think like I cannot imagine that still works, that sort of stuff. I just can't. Even if you think about it, like all of the stuff that developers need to do now to have proper security, it's really difficult to do it right because somehow we're getting a magical job token. Oh, we accept this user, come into our system. But yeah, you'd think that errors happen there and not in like JDBC SQL injection, you know? Little Bobby tables, we call them. Oh man. Your teacher found a Belgian government site that was vulnerable. Okay. Yeah. I don't know, like Belgian government sites or even banks. I don't. Well, I have such low expectations for that because I've seen it in real life. And yeah, you're right. That I can understand, quote unquote, or I can more easily imagine. It's a digital potato, yeah. It's sad, huh? It's actually quite insane. Did you hear that they plan on, what was it again? Like they plan to, for GDPR wise, they plan to not to make sure that random people cannot digitally read the chips or on the tags of pets. Like, so let's say you've chipped your dog or your cat and they ran away and your neighbor found them. Then they are now making sure that normal people can't read those chips anymore or those tags. But if you think about this, who in their right mind as a Belgian citizen is going to see like, oh, look here, a lost cat. You know what I'll do now? I'll read their chip and understand who the owner is, and now I'll have access to who the owner's data is. Like, wait, what the hell? Who the fuck cares? You know what's gonna happen is they'll take a picture, post it in the WhatsApp group, and say, whose cat is this? Come get it. It's so nonsensical. Oh my god. That's the stuff that they're busy with. High priority stuff. Yeah. Imagine that. But yeah, so I'm not looking forward to doing the security stuff. Did I maybe already make a drawing somewhere? I guess it should be an architecture somewhere. Registers, sign up flow. Allez. Anonymous user visits the website. They click the register button. They are redirected to federated login. Then the provider will redirect back towards our site with a valid job token. And then maybe I should add something like this requires our app to be registered as a known client to the federated provider. I don't know the actual names of these things. They probably, I think it's relying party. I don't know. I don't know the lingo of OAuth. Okay. Safari, you ass. Okay. As a known, yeah, that's it basically. So in doing so, we need to think about which provider we are going to choose. And I think I've already decided which one it's going to be, and it will give us a bunch of benefits as well. So maybe we just do integration with Epic already here. Because if we do that, then I hope that on the user info endpoint, we will get the logged in user's Epic ID, and that we can use to do future integration with the Diabotical API. Nice. So then they will redirect back. That's great. Then, what the hell? Then an authenticated anonymous user is presented with a form where they fill in their nickname. Ah, yeah. So, okay, I already figured it out actually. Lol. So, if you enter on the UI on a callback endpoint where you've got a success, but this is also incorrect, I guess, because here it's like an authenticated anonymous user then is presented with a form where they fill in their nickname. When they do that, I understand that here register player happens with sub, I think it's called. Maybe let's do jot.sub or something, and nickname they chose. Something like that. And then I can basically bind both of these into a registered player. So this will create a registered player somehow. Player registered event. Nice. But then there is also the case where a non-anonymous user visits the website. Yeah, let's try and just copy this. Fucker. Copy this underneath it. So here we've got I guess at this point it could still be an anonymous user. They shouldn't click the register button. Maybe it's like clicks the log in button, I guess, because then we'll need to just redirect. Then they'll also redirect back with a valid token. In that case, our authenticated anonymous user is not presented with a form. But we need to check here somehow. Check whether we already know a registered player with jot.sub. How do we do that? And this all happens in the UI or what? This is annoying. It has to happen in the UI. They don't click, so if they do, then they're now successfully logged in. They get redirected to home, I think we're going to call that. So that's not anonymous home, but then registered players home. None of this happens. So it looks like it's a complete UI thing, but it's a bit of a mismatch here because what we're trying to do is express the sign-up flow or so this isn't actually a sign-up flow anymore. Maybe I should rename this to authentication flow or something instead. Fuck. authentication flow. And then we will lock it down. Anonymous registered player. That's a funny name. I guess at that point in time, it's still an anonymous user, but really this person is already registered. They click the login button because they know they're already registered, and then again, federated login happens. Then they'll redirect. And I guess in this bit here, so if they are unknown, right? Let's do this. Unknown, voila. Then we'll present them with a form where they can enter their nickname, and then we will actually register them. And then otherwise, they get redirected to home. This is a fun song. There we go. All right. But this is definitely for next time. And then maybe what I'll set up before is some setup maybe, because I'll need to fill in a bunch of secret fields like client ID and secret, or API key, for example, for our application. Oh shit. Okay, because I also think that if I start doing that immediately with Epic, or the Epic Games, whatever identity provider stuff, then I probably won't be able to run locally anymore. So I'll need a way to replace that somehow. And for that, I will use Keycloak and just run my own identity provider. Should be okay. Because for the backend, it doesn't really matter as long as we can bind the sub with the nickname to a registered player. Where we get that sub from, and I hope, then I don't know actually. Oh shit, that I don't know yet. Is a sub unique per identity provider? Do people know that? Let's do. Is a jolt.sub unique per IDP? Mr. Red, do you know that? Do you happen to know that? According to the specification, eh? If a sub is unique per IDP, gonna guess that it's not. Yeah. Two cookies. Do I really want to read the spec right now? I don't know yet. Sub. Subjects. Identifies the principal that is the subject of the jolt. The claims in a jolt are normally statements about the subject. Must either be scoped to be locally unique in the context of the issuer or be globally unique. Okay, so I guess we can get uniqueness if we also Because you know the issuer. So if we couple the issuer and the sub, then we will get a guarantee that it's unique. Cool. Use of this claim is optional. Fuck my life. Are you kidding me, bro? Really? I really thought it was part of the spec. Wait, what does use of this claim mean? I guess if you're processing it, then you can ignore this one. Okay, but it will always be present, I think. Eh? Oh fuck! Allez, what? God damn it! Eh? Why do you have a spec? Just if the use is optional, then. God damn it, I'm all fucking hell. Anyway, so I think we can safely assume that normal IDPs, it will be a jot.sub, actually, jot.issuer, oops, plus sub are unique. Voila. So I guess we'll need to do the combination. So here we'll also do jot.is plus is unknown, and here we'll do the same. Voila. And then we do have uniqueness. Nice. I hope. So here we'll also need jot.is plus sub and nickname. Somehow want to express that this is like a pair and then the nickname. Okay, but this is for next time. Eh? So I guess I'll set up my own key cloak then. That feeling when you are struggling to host a Minecraft server on Linux. No idea. No, isn't that just you can Dockerize it? No? Dockerized Minecraft. There you go. Docker run. And you're off. Yes, but no. But why? I'm still figuring out if this is like a good way to represent this authentication flow, because it doesn't show all of the parties. Maybe it's more interesting if I show like the technical process and then maybe do this. You know what? Maybe I can do this check as a command or something. It won't have an aggregate though. Could be a query, I guess. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna call it quitsies here. Let's go over what we did one last time. Over here. Oh, we still have uncommitted changes. That's not good. Let's make a little commit. This is a what's that? Lipstick, I think. Lipstick. I mostly That's really funny. Me too now. Thanks for reminding me. Changing a port number makes it work. Relabeled. That's how you spell relabeled. The button to be more fun. Funny. Okay. Push it. Let's check our commits. You know what's sad is that I didn't include the fact that I changed the port number in my commit message. This is all crap. Yeah, then we first started off by doing poor man's routing. By not using the URL, in fact. This is all I did here, or what? I switched them from place. Ah, nice. Everything is in here, of course. So we do in it. We did change it to use an application already, but then didn't actually use it. Or did we? Yeah, here we hooked into the internal. So this is dirty. Yeah, I need to start not exposing everything from these modules. But it's cheap now. Stripped all of the routes into these ones, then yeah, parsed those things. But we weren't using them at all. We just initialized the route, the current route, to something, and then decided what to do there. Then the registration button works with URL parsing. Wait, how much time is in between those? Ah, dang. Can't see it properly. Oh wait, 21:16. Okay, an hour and 15 minutes somehow to figure out how registration button works. That's with the nav key crap. Oh right, that was some magic. And then we noticed our typo, and so this is the one with the typo. Then the on URL request, we also figured out that this can just be we can inline this one, I think, now, unless we already did that. And I guess we can also do that thing. We can inline that thing as well. Okay, that can be like a nice refactoring real fast. Here we moved all of the parsing to be at the top, so it all belongs better together. We added our key and our URL to our model, which I think eventually we got rid of the URL. In our model, I mean. I don't remember. Let's see how that works again. Then we simplified our home message again, so we didn't need to deal with the internal registration redirect button clicked event of the home page, but rather just redirect. And then because our home page changes the URL, this URL change thing gets triggered, and then that will then in fact update the current route by using parse URL. And this is the thing that causes the URL to be changed because we're doing push URL. Actually, no, that's incorrect. Because we're not using link clicked, in fact. We're just directly calling nav.push URL. So maybe that needs to be extracted somewhere to util or whatever. What file is this? Registration. This also was working with the key now, but in our home, yeah, does the push URL. Okay, nice. And then build a relative URL of our registration page. This is really just using registration.url instead of a hard-coded one. added a to-do or fixed a to-do, and then included the URL using the relative URL builder. Then this was routing based on the initial URL. So it seems like we still have our empty, or have our model. No, we don't keep a URL anymore. We keep the route, and we immediately parse the URL that's passed in the init. That's it. Yeah. Then we got rid of a to-do apparently. And this was the -- push state flag that we needed. Something that was there, a refactoring. Yeah. And the bunny. And then there was something in our that we might fix in our, where is main? At the very top. So we can inline both of these. So we can just do link clicked. That gets rid of that. And then this can just be URL changed. Voila. And these can just be types because here URL changed is a type, but actually the constructor is being used as a function. Godverdomme. As a on URL changed. Allez. Voila. Where you transform a URL into a message, but if your message is a constructor that takes in a URL as an argument, you can just use the type. Bomb. So that's another refactoring. We already say inlined on URL request and on URL change. Voila. This program is actually amazing for comparing commits. Yes, IntelliJ is amazing. It's really great. I can highly recommend it because it uses both. I mean, it can deal with any type of language, but your mileage may vary. In Elm, it doesn't really have, or that plugin doesn't really have that many features. But for Kotlin, for example, features are endless, and Java refactorings are really great as well. You were running the goddamn Minecraft version for the server, okay. And you love the random touch stoppers. That's good because I don't think I can control myself good enough to not do those. Did we push? Did we push yet? Oh, we did. Okay. All right, then there's nothing left for me to say, but I was going to say see you next Tuesday, but that's incorrect, in fact, because next Tuesday, let me think. Is next Tuesday already the second Tuesday of the month? No, eh? Okay, so then it is until next Tuesday. Yay! All right. Thanks for hanging out, Mr. Rat. And I hope to see you next week. All right. That is all for us tonight. Bye. Peace.